Hi love, it's Nervo, and about 50 years ago I asked what your Sims unpopular opinions are. Some will be skipped for time reasons and also because they were just very similar to opinions that were already expressed. But I'll try and, link back to the OG post so you can peruse the opinions yourself. Or maybe add some more opinions, who knows? In the comments, let me know if you want to see more kind of videos like this. Let's get into it. Now, my very first response was by Simblood on Tumblr. She said horses bad and they don't have a place in The Sims. In the tags, she then says, I will die on this hill, thank you very much. Now, I kind of completely agree with the statements. In The Sims 2, obviously, there is just no way you can have horses in there. It is just not made for that. In The Sims 3, while it's nice to have the horses, they just travel on the roads most of the time to get to and from places. And it's... apart from Appaloosa Plains, they're not really, the other worlds in The Sims 3 aren't really made for horses to be in. And I feel the same way about The Sims 4 and Horse Ranch. The horses, it doesn't really make sense for there to be horses. I get on my horse in Willow Creek. There's just a stallion in a suburban neighborhood. It doesn't really make any kind of sense. So I completely agree with you on this one. I don't think horses are supposed to be in The Sims. Our next response is by Fear Sims, and he reblogged saying the chemistry system in The Sims 2 is stupid and janky LMFAO. And the tags he then goes, and the people who try to police people's parents because of the system are annoying. Girl, does it look like I care? I kind of agree with this. Now, while I don't think the chemistry system is the be-all and end-all of everything, I do feel as though it's a nice guideline if you're ever confused or you don't really know who to pair who with. And it's also interesting if I have a sim who's happily married to someone else, but they have more chemistry with someone else. That to me is realistic. Sometimes you have a partner that you are very much in love with, but the people who are very strict and have all their parents be three bolters, I think that's incredibly unrealistic, and you kind of take away the joy of the game when you rely so heavily on the chemistry system to make these pairings for you. Now, Professional Party Guest had a lot to say, which I live for. Now, they said, since you're making a video, I'll throw my hat into the ring. Photoskinning is actually awesome, including photoskin skins and clothing. I literally see so many people using photoskin CC and skins without knowing it, including in The Sims 4. No, legit, I love photoskinned content, custom content a lot. Photoskinning is really good. Not everyone wants to sit down and meticulously handcraft and hand paint something that they're going to throw in quickly for The Sims. So I don't know why people have this big thing against photoskinning. I think what it is people don't like when they can tell it's photoskinned. When they don't know it's photoskinned, I think people are okay with it because they, like I said, they don't know. But I think photoskinning is really, really cool and I really appreciate it. The next point is there's almost no good blonde swatches in any hair systems. Most of them are either too piss yellow, light, or dishwater looking. Now, I think I kind of agree, I kind of don't. I feel like it's difficult to get a very perfect natural looking color in the games because, as you know, there's various shades of blonde in the real world. To be honest, blonde as a hair color is just kind of cringe. Sorry if you're blonde and you're watching this. I don't really think there's a shade of blonde that I naturally gravitate towards. I just think blonde's just blonde in it. The very next point is a topic highly argued about in the Sims 2 fandom. If you are in the Sims 2 fandom, you'll have seen this, but they say hair poly counts are exploding and it's insane. No hair should be over 25k unless it decimates badly under that. Now, I completely agree. There's no reason as to why your hair should have that many polys, and mostly because the Sims 2 as a game was made for old brick computers. I don't think it could handle hairs that have that many poly counts, and if you have loads of hairs with high poly counts on the same screen, your game isn't gonna have much fun rendering that. Now, this is coming from someone who plays with a really realistic game. I probably have a bunch of hairs that are over 25k polys because they have the look that I want, or am I happy about it? Not really. And if I could reduce these poly counts myself, I would do that. I don't have the skill to do that yet, but I feel as though it's just a lot better to have low poly counts so your game can run better. I don't know why that's such a controversial opinion in the Sims 2 fandom, but it seems like people don't like being critiqued on the choices that they make. Okay, now this point had me clutching my pearls a little bit. They said, if you complain about premades but you don't care about people's OCs, you should not be in this community. Now, very combative tone. However, I do agree with you somewhat. Actually, yeah, apart from that you shouldn't be in this community, I think people are just annoying and I don't like engaging with annoying people in the community. But if you complain about people playing with the pre-mades, that's completely like up to you. You can just like not like the pre-mades. That's fair. And I know some people that actively choose not to play with the pre-mades or have never played with the pre-mades ever, and they've been playing The Sims 2 since launch. So it's completely understandable not liking the pre-mades or feeling like they don't have enough character and creating your own characters. Now, if you actively hate on the pre-mades and say, I hate these pre-mades are annoying, then you don't go out and engage with content that isn't pre-made content and you just hate on pre-mades. I just think you enjoy complaining and you enjoy being miserable, and you as a person are insufferable and unbearable and nobody likes you in the community. Other than that though, yeah, I think some people are just naturally predisposed to being annoying. Now this next point, I've never really thought about it, but now that you've said it, I'm not sure whether I agree with you. They said, if you complain, that's not what they said. They say, what did they say? They say not all hairs need to be for all ages, especially shaved sides and super long hairs. There's so few age appropriate hairs for kids. Now, as someone who plays multiple different time periods in their game, in my historical gameplay, it's been so clutch for me to have these so-called not age appropriate hairstyles in my game. So in that historical save, it's a Victorian setting, and having these updos longer hairstyles, because you know a lot of my Sims are Native American. In that Victorian setting, it really is great. I like having very long hair for my toddlers, for my Native American toddlers. To me, that makes sense. I like having updos for my Victorian toddlers. To me, that makes sense. Now, for you, you might not want those super long hairs on toddlers, and that's completely fine. It's your game. You play how you want. But for me and my playstyle, I enjoy it. So I feel like I don't agree with this, but you may agree with them on their point here. Now this next point is very highly contested and debated and argued about in the Sims community at large, from probably Sims 1 to Sims 4 and all of the above and in between. Everyone has an opinion on this. Now they said here, I actually believe people who make meshes from scratch and hand paint CC from scratch are worthy of 3-week early access. Feels exciting waiting for these things. You know what, I can see your point of view. I understand completely. If you spent a very long time on doing something, it makes sense why you'd want some kind of financial compensation for it, especially if you know you are struggling in your real life and you want a little side hustle or side hobby. In that same token though, I hate that fandom has now become a side hustle where people can come onto here and try and get more money. I don't know what it is. I think it's the commodification of the things we enjoy. I'm not too sure. I'm conflicted on this. I feel like the beastly wait times of some early access creators is just purely unethical. I'm not waiting for 2 months for a piece of CC. That's ridiculous, and obviously EA has made a statement saying that that is not in their policy. Whatever. 3 weeks is a very long wait time, and it does incentivize a lot of people to pay, especially because of the instant gratification thing. So I'm in two minds about this, where of course I'm not entitled to your custom content. You felt like creating and sharing something for free, which I applaud. I like that you've shared something that you're passionate about for free. It's really nice of you to share these things with us, but at the same time it's like, I'm not too sure about this. I am not too sure, especially because the game as a whole, you wouldn't be able to sell these things off if the game wasn't there. It's a complicated issue, and I don't really feel passionately either way about it. Now this point that they made is specifically for The Sims 2, as in The Sims 2 there are no sliders in which to like change your Sim's body, but they said there's only like 4, maybe 5 body shapes I actually like. Everything else is weird and fetishy. I can see this, especially the body shapes that have like really large breasts or really, you know, large hips and stuff like that. I can see that. However, sometimes people just be built like that. Sometimes people just have really big breasts and really big asses and really are just built like thick. Sometimes people are just built like that. I do enjoy, you know, the bigger body shapes, like the Mama Lisa? That kind of, I want to see more fat Sims that actually look like they are fat and carry fat in a way an IRL fat person does, because the way that a fat Sim looks in The Sims 2 is ridiculous. Like it's so early 2000s. It's so 2000s. So I can see your point. I see your point. They said, I believe more hairy textures / converters should blend in the original textures of the hair on their textures. It adds the depth and shininess I love. You know what? Maybe they should. I've never paid too much attention to this. I personally just like it when all my hair textures just look the same or look similar. I like when all the colors look the same or similar. It helps when creating a single sim and having their hair be consistent in all their outfits if the textures are the exact same in all of them. But I can see why you would like to blend it in. It's just personal preference. This one, if you've been on Sim Secret, you've probably seen a bunch of secrets that what's the word, lambast about this in particular. They said, like, half of the fandom can't dress teens or children appropriately, like, at all. I see this 100%. I'll see toddlers in like really skimpy outfits, really tight fitting clothing, and it's like that. It gives me a weird vibe, I will be honest with you. This next response is from Secret Tacos, and he says, I hate how CC hair looks and prefer OG animated Max's hair. Now, this opinion is really unpopular. I don't think I've seen this one before. I don't know anyone that has this opinion, so congrats, you win. You win at the unpopular opinions game. I didn't know there was a competition, but you won it. I think a lot of the Max's hairs, it has a certain charm, but it's really outdated and crunchy looking and kind of hideous. That's me personally. I don't like the way it looks. That's a really unpopular opinion. I don't think I've seen that often. They also said same with custom skins. Again, I'm gonna have to disagree with that. The Sims 2 aesthetic is really cute and it's really charming, but it's kind of ugly. His next opinion is that Skin Tight's 2006-esque CC is pretty good in the right circumstances. I completely agree. I enjoy having it in my game. I completely agree with you on that one. I like Skin Tight 2006-esque CC a lot. This one, okay. I feel like a lot of people will tussle you about this one. He says, playing rotationally and with a heavy set of rules isn't fun outside of challenges. I play rotationally. For me, I didn't necessarily play rotationally before I started The Sims 2, but as I've gotten used to playing rotationally, I feel like I prefer that. At times when I feel like I'm getting bored of a household, it's nice to know in the back of my mind that I can just switch to another household. However, on the flip side of that, I can understand why you wouldn't want to play rotationally, especially if there's just a household that you don't like in a pre-made neighborhood. Let's say you really enjoy Strangetown, but you hate playing as AJ, you just think he's so boring, or you hate playing as the Smiths, you think they're so boring. If you play rotation, you're kind of forced to play 7 sim days or however long your rounds are of this household that you don't enjoy. So I can understand why someone wouldn't want to play rotation and just want to play as one household. So I can understand completely. Now, with a heavy set of rules, I feel like having guidelines and rules to some people is very fun, and it kind of provides them ideas of what they can and can't do. The people, they just want to be able to do whatever. It just completely depends on your playstyle and what you prefer. But I feel like having too many rules, it doesn't seem fun anymore. At that point, there's no point in having a variety of Sims if everyone kind of lives the same life. Now, his last point says, I don't like it when pics showing builds, deco, etc. are heavily filtered and saturated and blurred. I'd prefer you just take an in-game screenshot at that point. I completely agree. It's hard to even know what I'm looking at if there are so many effects being thrown at me. It becomes aesthetic and pleasing to look at, but you kind of lose what's in the actual image, and it's difficult to discern what is what. I completely understand this. Oh, okay, now Plumbogs makes a statement saying, quote, pre-made Sims aren't that deep and are just made by the devs as tutorials / starting points. Nothing is actually canon because the Sims don't really have a story to tell. And, quote, another quote, people can be attached to the pre-mades and love theorizing, making fan art and dissecting the lore are statements that can and should coexist. It's all about having fun. I completely agree with him. Honestly, I feel like Maxis intended the pre-mades to just show you the different game mechanics in the base game, or primarily in the base game. That's most pre-made lovers love base game pre-mades. So yeah, Maxis made them to show off these different mechanics in their game and stuff with the guides and with the rotation that you play them in. But afterwards, I think, especially because I obviously love Strangetown, I love the Strangetown pre-mades, I have a really I don't want to sound cringe, I have a connection to these Sims, and I love these Sims, and I love playing as these Sims. I also love playing as my own Sims, and I can completely see both sides of this, where people kind of see the premade as a means to an end, to just show you how to get abducted by an alien, or how to get married, or how to move in with someone. And I can also see the people that love theorizing about Bella and love theorizing about, you know, all these different things and theorizing about the different connections between people. I understand both, you know, sides of the spectrum, and I feel like they should coexist 100%. Now, Fish Art responds saying someone else, I think they were referring to Secret Tacos, but someone else in tag said it, but I also don't like the style of CC hair, especially 42. People say clay hair fits the Sims 2 best, but I'm like, And then in brackets, they put, still love people's screenshots with them though, haha. See, this to me, I don't feel like not liking clay hair is an unpopular opinion. I feel like I see that opinion everywhere. People don't really like clay hair, especially in the Sims 2 community. Like, people aren't really vibing. Even less so in the Sims 3 community. I don't think I see anyone in the Sims 3 with clay hair at all. I think for me, clay hair oversimplifies a lot of things, and it's appealing to some, not appealing to all, and it's not appealing to me. Fish also proceeds to say, and I find the Pukla style hairs to be too soft to my liking. True Maxis match all the way. That's interesting. I feel like, yeah, true Maxis match, as I said before, Maxis, like the Sims 2 OG true Maxis match style, is very, very charming. It has a very clear like vision of what it wants to be, and that I can respect it for. Now, this opinion, I have been waiting for someone to say this, and I'm so glad that you've said it. I don't like clean UI for The Sims 2. I need my Maxis Fruit Tiger Aero UI or I will die. And then in brackets, plus it's just so much more charming. Clean UI reminds me of The Sims 4, especially with the Sims 4 cursor add-on. Get her away from me. Nope, I completely agree. The clean UI just removes all the personality from The Sims 2. I've played with the clean UI thing before, and it feels bad, man. It feels bad. I need my outdated UI, and I need it now. Your very last point, I'm so happy you said this. You're so brave for saying this. I'm so happy you said this. Fish then goes, the environments in The Sims 4 are ugly as fuck, bro. I don't know how unpopular this is, but people always like, the best Sims game would have actually good stuff from previous games on The Sims 4's graphics. Maybe my bias is showing, but The Sims 4 is ugly. LMAO, have you seen those low poly pigeons? I think The Sims 3 environments, even without CC, are much prettier and more immersive. I completely 100% agree. For me, I don't even know how to properly say this, but for me, The Sims 4, its aesthetic is made to appeal to as many people as possible in a really corporate way, and I don't like how that reflects in the way the environments look as well, especially San Myshuno. This is really unpopular. I think San Myshuno is hideous. I think it's really ugly, and the way the buildings look, the way the pigeons look, the way the, you know, deco Sims look. Of course, you're not supposed to be focusing on them, and that's why they're really low poly. I don't like how The Sims 4 looks, and that's primarily the reason why I don't play The Sims 4, is because I feel like it's really, really ugly. And anyone that says, or to me, anyone that says, oh, if we had like The Sims 2 gameplay with The Sims 4 graphics, that to me would be like an act of terrorism. Like The Sims 4 was like really that bad to me. Hi love, it's Nervo again, and this marks the end of the video. You may have noticed that I didn't go through every single opinion that was shared in that Tumblr post, simply because there were a lot more responses than I was initially anticipating, and so I'm going to make this a multi-part series where I go through that post. If you have any more suggestions, I guess it'll be a continual thing on this channel. For now, I think that's it for this video, so if you've enjoyed, make sure you subscribe, follow me on my Tumblr, and YouTube thinks you're going to like the video on the left ear, so prove them right. You're off for now.